January doesn't fail you. The plan that you make for January to start everything and to change your life, that's where the failure is at. And if you've already told yourself, this is the year where it will be different, I will do different things, I will make changes in my life, it starts now, this episode is for you.
Parenthood is challenging enough as it is, and getting organized sounds easier said than done. Now, combine these two together, and it's truly a balancing act that many of us struggle with day in, day out. If you're here, it's because you want to know how to get your life and home more organized and structured where the kids are involved too, so that parent life is a little easier and you can focus on what truly matters. Hey there, I'm Dianne Jimenez, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing, teaching kids life skills, and contributing to the home, being on the same page with your partner, and raising your kids together while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk. I'm here for you. Thank you for tuning in. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Hello. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first episode of 2026. Thank you so much for being here and tuning in on this very first episode. I'm so excited to be doing this and to be connecting with you once again. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, that you got plenty of rest, and that you got to spend time with not just family and friends, of course, that for sure, especially during the holidays, and there's no school and hopefully no work at that time, that you really got to pause and stop more often than not to reflect and recharge and just soak it all in, this time of warmth and family and love and everything that the holiday brings in. So now that it's over and the new year has started, what is happening with you? Now, I know that January, they say, is like the Monday of all the year because it's where everybody resets. You know the saying, new year, new me. This is where everything starts. And I'm finally going to change because I haven't done anything for all of last year, or I've been slacking off and cutting back and being very inconsistent. January is when we start. Now, if you've been listening to my episode in December, I talk about how that's a big mistake. I talk about how we put so much hype in the January reset and start, and in actuality, it's a big mistake. I just want to just let you know that January doesn't fail you. The plan you make in January does. Let me say that again. January doesn't fail you. The plan that you make for January to start everything and to change your life, that's where the failure is at. And if you've already told yourself, this is the year where it will be different, I will do different things, I will make changes in my life, it starts now, this episode is for you. Here's the truth. The biggest January mistake moms make is trying to change their entire life all at once, instead of stabilizing it first. I'll explain what I mean in a second. Now, this is also why one size fits all January plans don't work. Different organizing styles need different starting points. Now, if you want insight before you take action, take my quiz called What's Your Organizing Style? I'll link it in the show notes, or you can head to dianejimenez.com/quiz to grab it right after this episode. But it'll help you understand how your brain works before you change your systems. So back to stabilizing everything. How do we avoid changing our entire life all at once, especially now, the first month of the year? I got steps for you. Step number 1 is to stabilize. January is not for adding anything else. It's for stopping the bleeding. What does that mean? I'm talking about overcommitments, filling up our calendars, saying yes to everyone and everything. That's what stopping the bleed means. Jumping from one project to the next without finishing what you started. And let me tell you, doing that often can lead and will lead to exhaustion chaos, uncertainty, and a lot of self-doubt. No, we don't want any of that. So don't add more to your plate, okay? Because when you know what you have in front of you, what is coming in and what's coming up next, you know what to expect and you know how to manage your energy and be able to pace yourself. When you can also grasp what's within your capacity, meaning mentally, energy wise, and even physically, like your schedule, and actually respecting your own boundaries, things feel more in control. You gain more awareness, and yeah, for sure, a lot more self confidence. So don't add more things to your plate, keep things stabilized. All right, step number 2, and that is to simplify. Choose one habit that will support everything else. What do I mean by that? Let me put it this way. What's that habit that removes friction from multiple parts of your day at once? Here's some examples. A 10-minute evening reset. Why does it support everything? The mornings are a lot more calm. There's less decision fatigue when everything was reset the night before. Kids know what to expect, and there's fewer emotional explosions before school. So this one habit of resetting the evening before touches the schedule, the energy, the way your home flows, and also the stress on the parents. In other words, you. Here's another example. Weekly what matters planning. And this could be for anything, but I'll just focus on business right now because some of us do have businesses, right? And these can be approximately 10 to 15 minutes. They don't have to be so long. So why does a weekly 10-minute meeting matter? Fewer last-minute scrambles. There's better boundaries. You get clear on your priorities, and there is less guilt. So how is this supporting the multiple factors in your day? Well, it supports your time. It supports your business, so you know when to start and when to stop. And it also supports family commitments. So once the business stops and family time starts, there's that clear line. You know where it is. And a final example here that relates to kids is kids owning one daily responsibility. So how does this support everything? There's less mental load for mom, right? It builds responsibility for the kids, so you're winning at parenting. It reduces resentment that you may be brewing inside you because now it's not just you doing everything. And it also improves the home flow. So this supports parenting, it supports your home systems, as well as your partnerships with you and your spouse and or you and the kids. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and everyone is helping out. So why does all of this matter right now? For starters, most moms start with performance habits. What is this exactly? So here's some examples and tell me if this sounds familiar. I'm going to start working out 5 days a week starting Monday. Here's another one. I bought a new planner to be more organized. And a final example, I downloaded this new tool that's supposed to help me be more productive. Those are all performance habits. In addition, these also collapse once we're under stress, and stress can creep up anytime. So you and I know this all too well, that when we're highly stressed, a lot of our planning and those habits that we wanted to maintain or wanted to start end up collapsing. So what do? We need supporting habits. And that looks like this. I reset my environment every evening before I turn in. I decided ahead of time, so in the moment emotional decisions don't get me to fall off track. And the last one is I reduce decisions by only keeping what I need and use often. So in other words, support habits create capacity, and capacity is what allows everything else to grow. So choose that one habit that supports everything. And I got 3 questions that can help you with this. Here they are. Question number 1, ask yourself, if I did this consistently, what would feel easier? Question number 2, what problems would it prevent? And final question to ask yourself, what would it reduce? Stress, decisions, time, nagging. If the answer for this is a lot, then you found that supporting habit. Okay, now if you're like, Dianne, I'm still coming up short. I don't know what you're talking about. Ask yourself this. If this habit disappeared tomorrow, would your day fall apart? And if it's a yes, that's the one to start with. All right, let's move on to step number 3, and that's build. Only after life feels manageable and stable and everything is under control, habits will stick. So keep things simple and remember, complex creates confusion and collapse. Simple sticks, especially right now. We just came out of a slower, sluggish couple of weeks and it's a new year. It feels like a reset. So naturally, motivation is high. There's this urge to shake everything off and start fresh. But then reality hits. Morning rush, school schedule, homework, meetings, activities, work demands, appointments, and all the things. So even though you want to change, your capacity hasn't caught up yet. And we mistake that for failure. And it really isn't. The mistake isn't a lack of discipline. It's just starting off too big, too fast for the season that you're actually in. So let's just give ourselves grace, slow down a little bit, and keep things simple. So let's give ourselves grace, stabilize, simplify, and build. Look, I want to share something with you. And I used to do this every January. I'd have big goals for my health, the routines that I was going to do every single day for my business and at home, and everything was happening all at once. And without fail, by week 3, I've already fallen behind. And from that, I got frustrated and I felt like I already blown it off. I've already screwed up. So what was the point? What I didn't realize then was that I wasn't failing. I was just building on a season that didn't have the capacity to hold all of that. I'm going to repeat that again. I was building on a season that didn't have the capacity for all of that change. So this week, don't start a new habit. Instead, ask yourself, what's the one thing that would make your days feel lighter? Start there. That's your January move. All right, my friend, if this episode made you realize you're trying too much, comment reset from wherever you're listening to this episode, or even DM me on Instagram or Facebook and tell me what you were planning on starting this January. And I'll help you figure out what is your first step, your real first step, aka your phase 1. All right, so that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.